Hop over there, Henry. Let me get a picture of all the group.
Who's going?
Come on. Well, I'm just excited that so many brave souls came out on a kind of iffy day to embark on the first New River Expedition. We're paddling the entire river. I mean, this is not a ditch running along the side of the road. This is the New River. Nationally significant, American heritage, wild and scenic, all that good stuff. And we just want to get people connected to it and get them to remember that this magnificent resource is out there and have them join us. So.
My name's Tony Padgett. I've lived in Ashe County for almost 10 years. And I live on the North Fork of the New River. I plan to go the entire route. It's 346 miles, but we're looking forward to it. Today the weather it's beautiful, great for canoeing, great for kayaking. It's just great to be outdoors and enjoy the South Fork of the New River.
My name is Pat Considine. Yeah, I moved into Ashe County in 1972, and one of the first things I saw when I came into the county was a big billboard, and it said, "Dam the Dam." I discovered quickly that they were going to flood a large plain of land through Ashe County, and it was really a grassroots effort of people who were losing their homes and their farms. I've come across people who the husband was buying land in a particular area because it was highly likely a marina would be there, and the wife was on the National Committee for the New River. And it's like, I mean, it got that close because everybody knew somebody that was losing their farm, and it was and they were losing them. They were, you go down through Crumpler and everything was, or most things were being boarded up because the power company had already purchased the land, and then there was big auctions that went on after, and a lot of the original people got their land back, but a lot of them didn't. They couldn't afford it back.
My name is Proctor Kirk. I'm from Hinton, West Virginia. You couldn't convince us the dam wasn't eventually going to be built, even though we were fighting like hell. Pardon that expression. And we decided that we better get down there if we wanted to see what that river looked like and run the river. Back home, we run through the New River Gorge. We grew up in it. So we came from West Virginia to a little place in Idlewild, North Carolina, had our wives bring us down. They dumped us in the river. It was about 10 yards wide at the place we dumped us in. It was quite a journey, but we paddled all the way back to West Virginia. We spent, as I recall, 7 nights on the river. One of them we spent in a shanty that was absolutely loaded up with black snakes. We called that the snake cabin. We took a lot of pictures even of the black snakes, and it turns out the guy that had the camera put the film in upside down and we didn't get any pictures. Most people don't know it, but there are 7 dams on the New River already. The dams in Virginia particularly, like for instance at Freeze, what you essentially had underneath that lake was about a 70-foot drop within a range of a mile or a mile and a half. And can you imagine what the whitewater must have looked like underneath there? Same thing was true with Buck and Billsby reservoirs. They're very small reservoirs, but they're fairly high. There had to be some absolutely gorgeous whitewater underneath those things. And we lamented all the way down the river not being able to run that river before those dams were put there, because it had to be magnificent.
My name is David Wallace, and I lived along the New River as a child. That would have been called Bull Falls, and that's now buried with the Bluestone Reservoir above Hinton, above the Bluestone Dam. It's all underwater, it's my understanding, even when it's at low level. The story was when I was approximately 4 years of age, and we lived along a small tributary to the New River in that same area called Warford or Bull Falls. My cousin that was 5 or 6 and I was 3 or 4 pushed a wash tub into the small creek and floated out into the river and was drifting down towards the falls. And it was probably 16 to 20 foot waterfall. and the farmers that were hoeing their corn heard us laughing and giggling and waited out and got us before we went over the waterfalls.
My name's Bill Parker, and I work for the National Park Service as a river ranger, swiftwater rescue. Here locally, especially, we get a lot of people that drive in to see Sandstone Falls. And it's very shallow up on top of the falls, and a lot of times people wade out on top, especially fishermen. There's always fishermen that wade out on top and fish the little channels and stuff that lead up to the falls. And there's been several occasions where I've gone up there and found people on the falls without life vests, of course, walking around. And last year, for example, we had a young boy, I guess he was probably in his teens, and we had a call come in that someone was on top of the falls 30 feet from the edge with a foot entrapment. And I had to respond to that, and you know, fortunately his foot wasn't entrapped. He got out there and was wading around and was in too swift of water, and actually made a smart decision by not moving. He just stayed still, because had he moved he would have been washed right over the edge of the falls and certainly been killed at that point. Sandstone Falls is about where he was at is about a 14-foot drop. It's a Class 6 rapid. You shouldn't run a Class 6. But I've always been an outdoors person, and I've got a huge appreciation for the park and the river. I feel that where I live here in Hinton, I have the ability to reach out to people that know me and actually carry the park's message, and also to be a steward of my parks. You know, someplace that I love, I have the opportunity to take care of it and to protect the resource.
My name's Don Stryker. I'm the superintendent of the New River Gorge National River. There were literally coal camps every mile of the river, both river left and river right, and a lot of those cultural resources are still out there covered up by trees and plants.
There were all kinds of little towns on the river that had no road access. Places like Quinamon and Glade and Kmore and places like that you could only get to by railroad, but they ran local freight in and out of there 2 or 3 times a day, you know, and you could ride in and out of there for a dime on the railroad. I mean, and people did it regularly.
Pop that cork! Woo! Oh! Welcome to the end of the New River.
End of the new. And it's been heaven all the way. Wonderful, wonderful people we've met, friendships we've developed. It's something I never will forget the rest of my life, and thank the good Lord that we all made it safe.
Wow, we've accomplished a ton. I mean, there were definitely times where I thought bit off a little more than I could chew. A lot of people, a lot of organization, a lot of shuttles, a lot of everything. But I'll tell you what, it was spectacular. I mean, it was so many people involved, and so many people joined and came on and contributed in some way or another. It was just really, it was a great experience. I think it raised its awareness back up again to where it needs to be. I think bringing more people. There were so many people that said, "Oh my gosh, had I known sooner, I would have participated. I would be part of this." And so I think next year, 200 people is going to turn to 400 people, and then it's going to turn to 500, 600 people, and we're just going to have this massive support for the New River. That's what we want.